How are things?
Excellent. Thank you. Really excited to have you on today. Everybody, this is episode number 155 of Tech Sales Insights. Really pumped to have John Byrne on, president at Dell. Every time I look, he seems to be getting more and more, but right now runs the global theaters for Dell, which is basically the globe. Technology Select. And we've got a awesome title topic, Evolution of the Customer Journey. For those that are members of Sales Community, thanks. For those that are not, Tucker will put a link on salescommunity.com/winterfree, and you can get a free membership there. Lots of good content and other stuff there. We're sponsored by Octus IQ, who's the sales performance assessment sponsor of Sales Community. And I know it's a topic that's near and dear to your heart in terms of talent and development, and we'll be talking about that in a little bit. So by way of background, John and his family live in Austin. He's got two twin girls, and besides work and family, he's also very passionate about health, both physical and mental, and it sounds like you could probably do a whole day seminar just on that, but certainly lots of fantastic insights there for sure. And in our prep beforehand, I totally love the story, but maybe just share briefly the story about the American flag there.
Yeah, hey, Ronnie, it's great to be with you, and hi anyone who happens to be listening in. Yeah, I was explaining. Obviously, whilst I am Scottish, my wife and we became American citizens in 2019. And I remember the story, Randy, that Michael Dell, his admin, was reaching out to my admin to say, "Hey, when is John and Caroline sitting there the citizenship?" And I was like, "Don't tell them, because if I fail, that's going to be unbelievably embarrassing." Anyway, the good news is we both passed. But the reason he wanted to know, Randy, was he had arranged for this flag, which was flying above Capitol Hill building on the day that we became American citizens. So it's a wonderful thing, and it's like basically just reflective of the man that Michael is, and the company that I'm very humbled to be part of.
So special, so awesome on that. So to help with the introduction, we've kind of known each other, kind of have met, but haven't had the pleasure of kind of being in battle together or against, I guess, per se. But a few of your friends here. So Kyle Ajecki, John is a student of the industry. He's curious, researches, and seeks to understand. He's not afraid to disrupt the status quo. His work ethic and pace are inspiring, and his intensity and passion are contagious. He cares for his team greatly and operates by a motto of people first, products and profits will follow. Personally, I've learned a lot working with John over the years and look forward to many more together. Ken Doherty, who's runs Storage Sales North America. John is a tireless servant-based leader who never asks anyone to do anything he's not willing to do himself. Like you, Randy, he's highly action-oriented and has tremendous intellect, which is only surpassed by his PQ, positivity quotient. He genuinely cares about the well-being of his team and is sincere in his approach that people matter. This quality earns him the respect and admiration of his people, and in return, his people would run through any wall for him. Most importantly, John is a family man, a great guy, and a friend to many and myself. Greg Ambulos, who's president North America Channels, says John Byrne is an incredible father, leader, and friend. I've had the pleasure to work directly and indirectly for John over the past 7 years, and it's been such a rewarding experience. He has high integrity, a strategic thinker who has great attention to detail, and execution is second to none. He builds great teams, all centered around the speed of trust, and everyone that has worked for or with him has been associated with him. All become strong leaders and help their employees become more productive. John is the ultimate pro. Steve Ayubi at Ahead, who's a channel partner. I know you're big channel friend of the channel. Is big into workouts, CrossFit. He's very disciplined, very numbered focus, and a fantastic friend of the channel. Billy Scannell, who wears a lot of hats, several of which are now your hats, but he's basically CRO of Dell. Says, I've had the pleasure of working closely with John for over 7 years since the Dell EMC merger. He's got to get over it. It's an acquisition. It wasn't a merger. He's a consummate professional, one of the hardest working executives you will ever come across. He's very disciplined and runs a tight business, but also has a soft side where he will always greet you with a smile, never forgets a birthday, and quick to quote lessons learned from his mom and dad, and constantly talking about his wife and twin daughters. I love the guy. So that's a pretty good resume filler, huh?
Wow, it is humbling. And look, those are some legends that you just mentioned. Now, looking at Kyle and Ken and Greg, I wonder if they'd say such nice things, Randy, if it wasn't coming up the quota setting season. But take it, right? But,
there you go.
But
And
no, thank you.
we got some comments in here. Tucker, if you want to grab it, a LinkedIn user says, "Go JB." Ken Doherty says, "PQ." Stephanie says, "Great leader that puts people first." Madeline says, "Grateful for John's leadership." Mike says, "Go John. Love the description. Spot on, Randy." So really good. So thanks for those that comment. We do our best to get to them, and certainly feel free to ask any questions as we go through this as well. So usually I ask folks their first job after college, but in your case, actually wasn't really college. You kind of skipped that, although you could have done it. And right after high school, you got in the working world.
Yeah, look, hopefully my mom's not listening, Randy, because I'm 30 odd years later, I'm still not sure if she's forgiven me for not going to university. But yeah, I thought I was going to go to university. Actually, I wanted to be an architect. You know, I love drawing, I love mathematics, I love physics. And then I thought I was going to be an accountant. Go figure, you know, Scottish people, Randy, and their love for money. And I ended up not doing it. And I went to a company called Phillips, and I was part of their management program. And you know, someone very kindly said, "Hey, John, you're a sales guy," and took a chance on me, and I'm glad that he did. His name is Roy Taylor. He's CEO at a great company called Riff, up and coming. And then, look, I ended up setting up my own companies from 23 years old, and I was very fortunate to be the sales and marketing agent for some great companies like NVIDIA, like ATI, like AMD. And you know, it's a phenomenal beginning. And I think someone had told me, Randy, I'm living the American dream backwards. You look at somebody like yourself who's had this phenomenal, wonderful career in Global 100, and then set up your own businesses now, which congratulations to you, is clearly thriving. I'm a little bit the opposite, entrepreneur going to corporate America. So it's been fun.
Awesome, that's great. If you want to trade W-2s, just let me know.
But before pride, Randy, you know that old saying.
There you go. But yeah, fantastic career. So if you can briefly maybe tell us more about what you actually do at Dell.
Yeah, well, first of all, I've been at this great company for just over 8 years. And you know, I didn't come from EMC. I didn't come from Dell. I was a child of Dell Technologies. I love it here, Randy. And I can give you many reasons. It can be like Michael celebrating Dell is now 40 years. You look at our purpose, our vision, our strategy. And I've had many different roles here. You know, be it go-to-market design, be it channel, be it North America. But over a year ago, Billy Scannell, a legend who I think has been name checked. I think this is episode 155 you got, Randy. I think Billy's probably been mentioned all 155.
Exactly, yes. And then some.
They'll ask me to basically run the global regions as well as our largest Fortune 100 customers. So it's been a wonderful journey, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm on roll number 5, Randy, in 8 years. So hopefully I can do this one a little bit better and stay in it for a bit longer.
That's great. Good one. I'm sure nobody better to have both hands on the steering wheel and the foot on the gas, so to speak. So I know with Dell, you just you do so much. So like, what if you're on the plane and somebody says, what did Dell do? What does Dell do? It's basically everything.
Yeah. It's funny, Randy, like yourself, back in, I'm sure with HP and other companies you've been, I try to make sure that comes into our company. And if you think about it, we have tens of thousands of sellers within our organization. And I always ask the question, hey, when you spoke to your mom, your dad, your friends, siblings, and they said, hey, what are you going to go do at Dell? And they'd probably say, hey, you're going to sell computers. And actually, like that is an important part of what we do, but it's not what we do. You know, when you think about Dell, what I say is, look at our purpose as an organization is to impact human lives through technology. And our vision is to be the essential technology company on the planet. And if you then take it back, it's okay, what do you got to do in this? You got to invest in technology, and you have to invest in people. And if you look at our people, we're 100,000 plus people across the organization, and we've been very transparent on our moonshot goals, around our ERG goals, and then investing billions of dollars per year in technology. And what does it allow us to do? Look, it allows us to ultimately be the number one in many, many areas. In fact, of all of the major areas of the business we focus on. That could be computers, it can be servers, it can be storage, it can be backup, it can be displays. But ultimately what we're doing is we're helping our customers solve some of the biggest, most challenging, complex situations that have never been solved before. And ultimately, we're helping our customers through our partners transform. And those can be many things, Randy. Those can be in the federal government. It can be in healthcare. It can be in education. It can be in financial services. So look, we're a $100 billion-ish organization, and we're playing in a $2.1 trillion market. And we have a saying around our company, which is, we call it PBNS, pleased but never satisfied. So look, we want to win in on all our key categories, and then continue to invest and help our customers in other areas of growth. Be it, take your pick, Randy. It can be multi-cloud. It can be modern work. It can be in cyber. It can be in edge. And of course, you can't go anywhere nowadays without talking about some form of Gen AI. So that's what we're doing as a company.
Yeah, that's amazing, everything that they have going on. So with those numbers, as impressive as the $100 billion is, given the size of the market, it looks like there's plenty of share for you to take out there.
Yeah, look, if you look at it, we're number one on all categories. But I always tell a story, Randy. Like I'm a very proud Scotsman, and my mom, my dad, my sister, my
I got saying it was old.
You got an old course on there. And look, we're super pleased to be like number one of all of those parts of the portfolio that I mentioned. But Randy, think back to the teenage Randy Seidel going home to your parents and going, "Hey, mom, dad, I was number one in the class," and you're going to say that great job, Randy. And you say, "Hey, what was your score?" "Hey, I was 30%, 40%, 33%." You probably wouldn't get an attaboy. Right. So for us, like, we're very proud and humble to be where we are, but there's a lot of the market for us to go and continue to grow. But at the heart of it is our people, and at the heart of it is our customers and partners.
That's fantastic. And given all the years you've been in the industry, no offense, but the evolution of the customer journey has really kind of changed a lot. Any kind of one or two things there in particular?
I've never seen anything like it, Randy. Like, first of all, thanks for calling out my age. So, hey, the workouts can help a little bit, and so can the diet. But I was excited in 1995 when the internet came around. I thought nothing could ever eclipse what happened then. And you look at what is happening right now, and the AI is the heart of it. It's like nothing I've ever seen. And customers, the way, like, what they're buying and how they're buying is changing, and it's changing almost like this. And if you look at it, if you look at the relevant stats, there was a Bain stat that's saying, hey, 95% of buyers are going to know more about your products before you even turn up.
Right.
80% of the buyers are already saying, hey, they know the specifications before talking to any rep. 80% are saying, hey, look, by the year 2025, I'm happy to be buying online through yourself, B2B buyers. So look, how the customers are buying, we should never be confused. But as anyone knows, Randy, business is about people. Selling is absolutely about people. So that human interaction, what does Ken Doherty, know me, like me, trust me, buy from me?
There you go.
Building that face-to-face interaction is going to be important. However, that this conversation that you and I had, Randy, wouldn't have happened a few short years ago. More and more customers are happy to be interacting in this motion, and more are moving online. So I think for us, like, I'll give you two examples, Randy, to bring this to life to anyone who happened to be listening. I was with a CIO, someone I know really well, and the CIO said to me, "Hey, John, knowing this outcome we're trying to drive towards, and knowing the relevant products. Should I buy Dell or should I buy this competitor? And hey, Randy, you got to know your brief, you're doing your thing.
Right.
And suddenly the CIO said, should we just ask this AI engine? So I was like, sure, absolutely, let's do it. That sounds great, let's go. Now, fortunately, Randy came out and said Dell.
Wow.
But think about that modernization. Then I was in another customer when the customer had said, hey, look, this isn't your best price. Now, Randy, how long have you been in sales?
Maybe a little bit longer than you. So probably since 1985.
85. How often have you heard that's not your best price?
Probably thousands.
Thousands, right? But this customer had built an AI engine, Randy, that had looked at all of the contracts and the tenders that were available in the public domain and said, this is what you offered. So if you think about how the customers are learning about or your outcomes and your offerings, how they're interacting with yourself, then knowing your brief and being able to talk about an outcome that the customers are not able to derive through some form of marketing content, some form of engine, is going to be critically important. But they also want as a sales leader, as a seller, you have to be able to meet them wherever they want to meet you. That's face to face, it is virtually, that it's online. So it's wonderful, it's exciting.
Yeah, so I mean, values that you didn't probably didn't know, but Jeff Goldberg was one of the godfathers of value selling back in the EMC days. But taught us a lot. But value selling and ROI. I always say if you're in the elevator with the CFO and they say, "What did you do for me?" or "Why should I buy from this proposal?" It's not all the technical bits and bytes. It's all about how you're going to help them generate revenue, save money, be more profitable, competitive advantage, things like that. So that whole kind of value selling concepts is kind of more important now than ever, right?
Absolutely. But I also heard that, Randy, hey, this seller or this leader is very good at outcome selling. Or this seller is very good at transactional. In this future world, Randy, you better be good at both. And therefore it's got to have to be a learned skill set for all of us.
Yeah. So what are the changes if you had to envision 2 years from now, kind of that future sales landscape? Kind of what changes or what's different?
Yeah, well, if you think about, okay, first of all, what is driving the change? Like Gen AI is at the heart of it. If you think about this marketplace, like Randy, you have kids, Randy, right?
Yes.
You know that it's getting real when your kids are using ChatGPT to cheat in their homework. You know this technology is real. And if you look at ourselves, but we believe in 4 years or less, this Gen AI is going to be $120 billion plus business. Now, it's a lot of people are fearful. Okay, is it going to replace humans? Actually, it's going to complement humans. Right. This is the first time that humans and machines are going to come together to give you an outcome that, frankly, has never been solved before. So it's an exciting thing. And even with my own leadership team, people say, "Oh, look, people are fearful of it." And it's that old, what is the Henry Ford quote? Hey, what if we train them and they leave? Well, what if we don't train them and they stay? And you got to, so look, it's leaning into Gen AI. You got to be able to know online. You got to know digital. It's going to evolve our sales and marketing tech stack. A lot of the work that we were brought up on, Randy, which was, hey, your growth was through capacity. There's going to be a change, actually, which is your growth is going to come, sure, through capacity, but through commercial productivity. It's going to change how we're developing our talent. Like if you look at Optus IQ and you talk about like the sponsor of this, but we're looking at them right now because they're helping us define the future talent and how you train them and how you enable them. So the shift in customer buyer behavior is changing. Therefore, I go, okay, what does it mean as a leader? Like I've done this for a long time. What does it? We should never forget business again is about people. As a sales leader, you mentioned at the very beginning, people first, products and process will follow. Well, that's not from me. That is from Jerry Saunders, who was the founder of A&D, and I heard it and I loved it. Because a lot of people say it's customer first or products first. They only happen with great people. But as a leader, then okay, what attributes do you need to have? I hear you asking many people, hey, what are you looking for in sales leadership? So if you look at our own organization, we have an annual survey, we call it Tell Dell, where we look at the leadership principles, and we believe there's 7 of them. That as a leader, you've got to be good at them. You don't have to be an expert at all of them, but you have to be good at them. And I'm going to say for anyone who's listening on here, we find that actually the number one, if you're going to double down on one, then make vision is a great thing. People want to follow you. You think of those changes, Randy. If you can provide that vision of why is it good for our company, our customer, our company, our partners, and our people, then they will follow you. But there's a couple of other things that you need as a sales leader. You have to be inspirational, Randy. You have to be inspirational, but at the foundation of inspiration is trust, and trust is the baseline. And when you have that vision and you have this trust, what happens? People will follow you, and they'll ultimately help you be successful. So, but it means, what does it mean for sales leaders, Randy? The world of being a leader of sellers is over. It's a leader of selling. And you need to be at the front, and you need to help the talent and help the customers so that you're leading from the front. And then ultimately at the end, I mentioned it already, with that, you've got to know your outcomes. You got to know the transactional. You got to understand e-commerce. That's what we see, what I think is happening, I think.
Yeah, totally. I mean, that, I do that post each week. I might be old school, but I think there's, still a lot to be said by leading by example, by being hands-on, by making sure you're kind of driving, by making sure that you're helping. And I think too many times now, especially with COVID and Zoom, a lot of the younger in career leaders are kind of take this kind of more hands-off approach because they didn't grow up, kind of every day in the street, sales calls, supporting and helping. So making sure that they're kind of that kind of old school nature, still stays there, something that's really important, right?
Well, Randy, think about it just for a second. You double click on that, and hey, Joe Young, good to see you, and thanks for the. I'll head on that quote from my mother in a little while. But you think about AI. A year ago, we were all beginning to talk about what is this Chat GPT, and we're on there, and we're writing poems, and we're writing letters, and even my kids are using it and whatnot. But think how quickly it's evolving. I mean, Gen AI has the potential to resolve some of humanity's biggest crises. It can be cancer, diabetes, cardiovascular health. But at the same time, it has the capability of pulling out so much power that it will not allow you to achieve your sustainability goals, which many of our customers have around the world. So we now need to suddenly have this conversation, which is we're thinking about the modern data center. We're thinking about energy efficiency. We're thinking about outcomes, be them online, software development, customer care, sales and marketing. And suddenly you're talking about massive outcomes to help your customers. And you're talking about, it could be the compute layer, the storage layer, the networking layer, but this outcome. And then you've got all of this silicon, Randy, coming from NVIDIA and AMD and Intel and many others. You and I couldn't learn that, Randy, sitting on a Zoom right now. You're going to learn it in front of a customer. You're going to learn it in front of people in an office. And this is going to be a big, that's how you learn from each other. And I don't think that changes.
Gotcha. So those 7 leadership principles, knowing or some idea of the things you talked about for what the future looks like, do you change anything with your assessing talent? Any of those 7 change or get more important?
Well, if you look at the seven principles that we kind of look at, and like again, I'm probably going to get them in the wrong order, Randy.
Sorry.
But I mentioned, look, first of all is vision. So you have to look. One of the things we speak about Michael, and we spoke about this flag. I'll give you another example. Because great leaders speak to all levels of the organization, and they make themselves readily available. That's what the servant leader is, right? Is to serve your talent. Yep. I would have these brown bags, as we call them, which is you go way down into skip levels to have these meetings.
Right.
So I'm sitting in this meeting. I arrange a Friday morning. I've got coffee. I've got donuts. I've got protein shakes. Take whatever you want to be. And I say, look, come and I want to listen and learn and just have a talk. Because you want to figure out what's going on in this organization. When you were at HPE and it's thousands of people. Yeah. And it was maybe 50 people, maybe 60 people in the room. And in walks Michael, Randy. And I was like, hey, Michael, you looking for me? And he said, no. I hadn't invited him to the meeting, but he came in, pulled up a chair, and literally listened for the whole 1 hour, and literally sent me a note to say, "Hey, curiosity is a superpower. You have to be curious, and being curious will allow you to build this vision." The next thing is, like, you got to lead with optimism. Life is short, Randy, and if all things going well, your career is shorter. So if you want to join a company, choose to join and love it. Nobody forces you to be any company, so therefore lead with optimism. If you're going to be a leader, you better have humility, and you have to have selflessness. You know, the people can see through those leaders that pretend that it's about something, that it's about other people, and it's actually about them. It's about relationship, drive, judgment. I don't think those change, Randy, in leadership principles. Now, how you define each one of them and the criteria set within those 7 is going to be important, but I think those 7 remain the same.
Great. And then
I'm a student of the game. I'm open to all feedback, Randy. I'm sure I missed a bunch.
No. It's all totally good. So assuming you kind of are assessing the talent, and then for the future, then are you kind of training different, or do you envision training differently down the road?
It's definitely going to change, Randy. You know, again, if you're a seller, if you're beginning your career or early in career in sales in here, like, there's a few things that I look for in a seller, Randy, and it could be any, but I'm looking for, like, great IQ. I told you I didn't go to university, Randy, so I need as many smart people around me as possible. Secondly, you need EQ. And when I say EQ, I really mean collaboration. Like, sure, you've seen we've all seen the lone wolf. We've seen them be very successful for maybe a year, maybe 2 years. But if you want to scale into senior leadership, to be able to collaborate and leverage the whole ecosystem around you, and it can be, you mentioned Kyle Lejeski or Kenny Doherty or Greg Ambulis in the channel, or your GSIs or your ISV. You have to be able to build out your network through EQ. Yep. The third thing I look for, Randy, is like Kenny Doherty mentioned PQ at the beginning, is positivity. Now, you don't have to be positive to be successful in selling. And if you meet Caroline, my wife, she'll tell you that I'm exhausting to live with because I'm so positive. That's how I choose to be thing. But I think there's a fourth thing that is happening right now, which is adaptability. You have to be highly adaptable in front of your customers and in an environment. So as a seller, there's some things that we're looking for. A growth mindset, both personally and professionally. You need to build out your technical acumen, because again, it's all about outcomes. You have to improve your financial acumen. So there's one thing going across the outcomes that our customers are trying to achieve, be it modern data center, be it around the cyber, be it around edge, be it around Gen AI, but many have the financial strategy and focus. And then, look, you got to understand your people. And then at the very end, you can have all of those nice things, Randy, but we're in sales. You got to deliver. You got to have a high say-do. So now I think in terms of the evolution of selling, look, there's going to be outcome based. It's going to be around knowing your brief, technical, financial, and others. But I'm pretty excited where I think AI is taking us, Randy, which is a lot of our training is done by managers and endorsements done by managers. Actually, I think in 2 short years or less, your endorsement is going to come through some AI engine. And therefore it takes out all favoritism and is going to define, can this person provide that relevant sales capability? And I think that's where we're headed.
Yeah, fantastic. So I'm not going to spend the time to repeat all the different comments. Tucker is kind of just round robin, putting them up there, but thank you everybody for that. And shout out to Sean Trotter. We're lucky to have you, John. And just lots of great comments here. Really appreciate it. And Jim Gantia. Hey, Jim, how are you? Name came up yesterday was something I need to check with you on, by the way. But said another favorite Michaelism. If you find you're the smartest person in the room, find another room. Nice job, JB and Randy, on the characteristics and successful leaders and customer journey outcome mindset. So, Jim, thanks so much for that.
Thank you, Jim.
So these comments are great. If people want to ask any questions, please feel free. I have plenty of questions, but happy to get any from the audience here as well. So thanks, and keep everything coming. So what about now, like a newer in career? Maybe it's you guys have always had a I don't know if you ever knew. I actually didn't talk about this. I started out as a telemarketer at EMC.
Is it really?
Yeah, we probably never. You just knew me for the later in career stuff. You probably didn't even know. Yeah. So we had the whole old school, now they call BDRs, SDRs, and all that. And it was actually May of '85. We had a great group of us, and I think it was technically us employee 33. So certainly a fantastic journey. But anyway, so for newer in career folks in sales, any kind of, you already said lots of great things. Anything, any one or two points that you'd especially emphasize for them?
Yeah. Well, hey, by the way, like I didn't know you came from the EMC background, but I got to tell you, Ryan, to listen to the like these podcasts and all of your work, hearing like your names like Billy and Hanlon and Riley and Doherty and Carl and Gelsinger, there are some legends. They came through EMC, so I'm humbled to be even linked with some of them. What would I say to newer in career? Like a few things. Well, first of all, I wish I'd said to myself, Randy, back in the day, that I had more time than I thought I had. Honestly, like you're in such a rush to be successful. Like you want to be the all-star, the highest commission, etc., etc. I wish I just said, hey, look, it's going to be okay. But if the other thing I'd say to if you're newer in career, look, take risks. You have way more time than you think you have. But so long as you're taking risks that are good for the customer, the company, the partner, and never self, then you're going to be okay. And if you think about this company, like hey Jim, great to hear, buddy. But he's talking about some of the Michael quotes. But you think, oh, we're a big company, but we're driven by an entrepreneurial spirit. And that old saying, which is, look, it's not the big that eats the small; it's the fast that eats the slow. And we don't want to be slow, right? It's something we're trying to get out of our business. So some things I encourage you. The other thing is, like, you're going to make mistakes. I've been married a long time. I'm told daily the mistakes that I make, Randy. So that's okay. But if you're going to fail, let us say, and fail fast. I would also say, look, before you join a company or before you take that next role, like, understand your why and the power of what you do and the bigger purpose. If you haven't read Simon Sinek, it's phenomenal. You got to know your brief. You got to know. You got to build your network. You got to build your sponsors. And I would also say, look, if you don't pretend to know it all, none of us do. That's why we have an ecosystem. And then the other thing I say, and Joe Young very kindly mentioned it in one of the quotes, and Joe, you're crushing it and keep up the great job. And I'm super proud of the work that Joe Young, the work that you're doing. I mentioned about health, family, or you mentioned health, family, work, Randy. But if you look at my family, they're all in Scotland, and I'm very blessed to have phenomenal parents. But our family motto is, it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice.
Yep.
And people say, what do you mean by that? It's like, hey, look, if you meet an executive, you're going to say hello, but somebody pours you a coffee, somebody's cleaning, the office. Hey, how you doing? And those things are important. And niceness is not a weakness. In fact, it's an unbelievable strength. And I'll also say, hey, forget the newer in career. If you decide that sales is your career and you want to be a leader, be a great leader. Leadership is a choice. Nobody forces you to do it. And those are some things that I'd probably say, Randy, to the early in career.
Yeah, so amazing. So from a mentor perspective, I'm sure you've had a lot over the years. Any kind of one or two you want to highlight, and maybe lessons learned?
I have so many, Randy, like all of us, right? I have a great mentors. I mean, I mentioned Roy Taylor, who gave me my first sales job, and we were in the business together at the very beginning. An investor who took a chance on this 23-year-old that knew nothing of me, Nick Adams, was phenomenal. I had, when I sold my company to AMD, there was a CRO then, was a gentleman called Rick Hegberg, and Rick took a big chance on taking an entrepreneur and bringing him, phenomenal, and took a big chance on myself. Rory Reid, you think about it, Randy, I'd only been at corporate America for 4 years. Like, I didn't think I was going to make it, Randy, in corporate America. I just thought I was an entrepreneur trying my best. And Rory Reid gave me the CRO gig at AMD, and I was at 40 years old. And a little thing, Randy, you may not know this, but whilst you and I don't really know each other, I saw you present in 2011 when there was HP Discover, and I remember seeing you on stage and being in awe about how much you knew about your business, the marketplace, your customers, and you clearly knew your brief. So you should know that about yourself.
I appreciate it.
And it was inspiring to see. And then here we are, some 13 years later. And then I say at Dell, Jeff Clark is our vice chairman and COO, and Jeff was a customer of mine at AMD. And I remember, I won't go into it now, but I remember doing a presentation to Meg Whitman, your old boss at HP, and coming out with a major order, doing the same with Jeff. Didn't come out with a major order, but it was how I responded to Jeff in that moment of a no that ultimately got me here at Dell Technologies. And then I also have I've had great mentors, Randy, phenomenal. What I have more of is great sponsors. And if people are watching this and you don't know the difference, a mentor is someone you go to for advice and you spend time. It's normally a couple of years. A sponsor is someone who's championing you when you're not in the room, right? And there's conversations happening that you don't know they're happening, and that's why I'm very blessed to have these. So if you're new in career, build out your network, find a great mentor, find a great sponsor that is going to be your champion. And that especially true, I will say, it's true for everyone in the company and everyone in sales, especially true for those who, from a diversity perspective, which is a major focus of us here at Dell Technologies. I'm humbled, Randy, to be the Global Women in Action sponsor or Global Black Network Alliance sponsor, and look, it's just about doing the right thing. So those are some things. I will tell you the best bit of advice I got, Randy, was not from a sponsor and not from a mentor. I had just joined AMD as a CRO, and they gave me an executive coach. Ever had one of those, Randy?
Oh yeah, plenty. Yep,
plenty. And this person said, John, like, sure, you may be inspirational, you may have a high say-do, maybe, but you come into meetings and you're straight into work.
Yeah.
And people don't relate to it. They want to know, they want that 5 or 10 minutes to say, hey, how was your weekend? How was your kids? How was baseball? How was dance practice? How was the concert? Is everything okay? How's your parents? And you think, well, I do that normally. But being very purposeful as a leader to spend time to really understand your people and show that you care about them and showing that humility and empathy. So something I do every morning from that moment, that little trigger of that moment of reflection. The first thing I do, Randy, when I wake up every morning at 5:30 is, like, I've got, 15,000 sellers working for myself right now. If it happens to be your birthday on that day, I'll send you a personal birthday email. Just a little thing. Happy birthday, have a great day. And it's little things. If you say you care about your people, Randy, take the moment out to just show those little gestures. And again, that wasn't from a mentor sponsor, but just a little thing that I do.
Totally, yes. I'm sure we've had the same advice. We're wired to go, but kind of taking a step back. And remember when I was at mostly kind of EMC and Sun, EMC Storage Tech, which was kind of that kind of go culture. And then Sun acquired us, and it was some attributes of it maybe were a little bit more laid back. So I'd come across like as a bull in a china shop. So remember, there's a HR leader, Claudia King, who I think now is Amazon or Google or somewhere, but she sat me down and just said, kind of the same thing that you just said about making sure you kind of do the personal side, but then also another thing was Randy, if you're standing up and you're talking, you're kind of, I don't think I'm that large, but you come across as large. Nobody's listening to anything that you're saying because you just have this towering beast over you. So wherever you can is kind of make sure you get down at eye level. And it's, so you have this, sometimes you can create this persona because they see you on stage or don't know anywhere else. And then I'd ask some of my friends, they're like, you're the biggest, kind of puppy dog that there is. Like, it's nice to meet, but it's like sometimes people, you always have to be sensitive in these executive positions. And sometimes people have this, kind of this image, and you got to make sure you really are so authentic and really looking in the mirror and taking the feedback like you are, which is fantastic. So I commend you.
I appreciate that, but I'm surrounded by great people, world-class people that care a lot. So it's humbling. And when I say and I don't really mean Dell. Like I know you mentioned at the very beginning with Steve Ayub, like all of these transformations we're having with our customers, Randy, right now are being enabled through our partner ecosystem. And those can be great partners like Ahead or bars and disties, but our GSIs are only becoming more important in this world. Our ISVs, I was at a seminar last night with our ISVs. And so it's all like your ecosystem is getting bigger and bigger and bigger every single day, Randy.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, your partners, I mean, that's the ability to kind of leverage that. And you have, I don't know how many extra sellers you have, but you're probably 10x or 50x, kind of feet on the street, sales and pre-sales, right? By leveraging the channel partners.
It's a phenomenal call out. You think when I was at Dell, and my role number 2 was to lead our global channel. It was a moment of Dell and EMC coming together. And how often do you get the chance to really bring 2 great companies, 2 great channel initiatives, bring them together to something pretty phenomenal? And back in 2016, we talk about a $35 billion partner like a partner business, channel business. It's significantly more nowadays. And the way that we now talk about it is we call about it the power of the and. Like, we have a phenomenal reach with all of our sellers across Dell Technologies and all of the relevant roles, AE and Insight and systems engineers and specialty and blah, blah, and services and all the way. But we have over 300,000 people trained and developed in our partner ecosystem around the globe. And we have to. We're playing in a 2.1 trillion market. So, so there's a lot of opportunity for many people to continue to grow, to continue to win, and hopefully have some fun on the journey.
Yeah, absolutely. Fun is definitely important. And I think on the channel partner side, I probably like you, over the years, you always have the sales teams. Oh, we need more, pre-sales. We need more, SEs. You do? How many do you want? Well, if I could get one, 1 or 2, that'd be great. Like, okay, how about you get like 50? Like 50? That's crazy. Yeah, it's called channel partners. So, who cares if they're trained and they're hungry and they're competent and they're capable? Go leverage that channel partner ecosystem. But it's people sometimes on the, I'd say direct and indirect sellers, but some of those direct sellers still sometimes have that mentality where it's okay. By and large, generally speaking, it's comp neutral. So go leverage them, and you could be on 5 or 10 sales calls at the same time instead of just being on one.
Yeah, we call it the pod, the pod model, which is, hey, look back to I mentioned that EQ and that collaboration. Like, I think of all of the functions that we have. Okay, you get the core AE that's mapped to the customer with all those functions to help complement. Look, part of your pod is your partner ecosystem. And I mentioned it is VARs, it is GSIs, it is ISVs. And if you think about, hey, once we're heading into this Gen AI space, we're thinking about, hey, should a lot of this Gen AI is happening in training modules, but eventually a lot of the Gen AI is going to happen in inference at the edge. The edge is going to be really developed by the channel ecosystem,
right,
or the partner ecosystem. So as you build your strategy across all of those transformations, you got to make sure everyone knows their role to play. And those are the ones, Randy, that are winning. Those are the ones with the highest customer NPS. Those are the ones with the highest financial performance. Those are the ones making the most commission. Those are the ones that are getting promoted. Those are the smart ones. And that's what I'm trying to encourage.
Fantastic. Well, we're almost at the end here. So thanks for the comments. If there's any others that want to chime in, please feel free, or also certainly take the opportunity to ask John any questions. So would love to get to some of your thoughts on health. So certainly I think kind of the physical workout exercise, a lot of people understand, but maybe any other things that might be unique or different, and especially leaning in on that kind of the mental health side, which is, so important these days, and probably the thing that's so misunderstood and underrepresented.
Yeah, I would not profess, and I do know all the answers, Randy. All I know is, like, I have a formula that I try to work towards, which I mentioned is health, family, work. And a lot of people say, well, how do you find the time? Well, first of all, in health, how do you find the time to work out? My normal response, Randy, is how do you find the time to breathe? Right. And I find certainly when I'm working out, it allows me that time to really think and forget about things. So people know, for example, there was a point in the day which ultimately I'm in the gym. And I'm either doing CrossFit, or I'm playing sports with my kids, but I'm also reading. Like, so I'm a big reader. If there's a great book called Outlive by Peter Attia, which is all about longevity, and it's also Medicine 3.0. If you haven't listened to Andrew Huberman, you and I were just talking about it beforehand. Andrew is unbelievable. If you want to talk about, hey, unfortunately, we have like my wife and I, we have a couple of parents that are a little bit unstable on their feet. If you want to think about his stability, Beth Lewis is phenomenal. Those are things that I just kind of I try to learn myself and try and keep myself in check. On the family side, Randy, and like, COVID was horrific. I'm sure we can all agree, but it also gave you a moment to reflect on what is important in life, and it is your family. So, I'm very lucky that my twin girls, I'm taking them to school when I'm not traveling. There's times in the evening when you're not going to get me, and I purposely carve out those times because, Randy, I believe that if you're healthy in your body and your mind, you can look after your family. And if your family's in a great place, then great things, magical things happen at work. And that's certainly how I think about it. But I don't profess to know the answers. And I will tell you, having an accountability partner like my wife, who literally said to me a couple of weeks ago, hey, you got the balance wrong for a couple of months there as you're traveling the world. And, that's important, Randy, is, that is your legacy is going to be your family.
Yeah, we usually have on once a year somebody, Richard Harris, who talks about mental health, and he'll do a survey each year. But is there anything intentional? I know it's a touchy subject, but is there anything intentional that you or your team does? Because it's a kind of weird. You would never 5 years ago, 10 years ago, you'd never say, geez, John, how's your mental health? How are you doing? Because you may not want to confide in your leader. Geez, I'm kind of wigged out about this or that. I got this problem going on, or this, or I'm unstable here. Is there anything that you've seen that kind of works to kind of bridge that gap, to have that discussion?
I'm not sure it helps bridge the gap. Sorry, Randy. Hey, even nowadays you get your dog involved. But there's a number of things that I encourage all of our leaders to do, which is we have a thing called ERGs, which is employee resource groups. We have 13 of them. I mentioned I'm currently executive sponsor of Women in Action. You think we made a commitment that by the year 20, 30, 50% of our population will be females, 40% will be leaders, 25% here in the US will be, if you look at our Black Network Alliance, will be underrepresented minorities. Join those groups, Randy. Join them and learn. And if you're a leader, join a group that looks like you, and then join a group that looks nothing like you. And if you listen and you learn, if you humility, Randy, you can pick up signals that are going to make you a better leader and a better person. And then the other thing we do as a leadership team is like we speak like the answer of how you doing, and the answer of fine is not an okay answer. As my mom calls it, the Scottish fine. How are you doing? I'm fine. And are you fine, or are you really fine? Yeah. And forcing that conversation. So making sure you are checking in with your sales team, making sure that you're not jumping back to the conversation we had 10 minutes ago. That's not only about business. That personal element is critical. And again, it brings back to me. I mentioned the 7 traits of leadership. That relationship, Randy. That, do you care about me? I have my why. I know what I do and I love. Does my leader care about me? Is super important. And if you're a leader, don't fall into the trap of my team loves me. Hey, it's important that your team loves the full company and the full leadership. So be that bridge throughout. And when that happens, great things will happen. And look, I'm blessed to work for a great company that cares about mental health, that cares about physical health. And that comes from the very top of the pyramid, from Michael all the way down.
Yeah, fantastic. And I guess, Jack, a lot of things that you've said in summary on leadership, but only if you are the can know me, like me, trust me, and instead of buy from me, kind of confide in me, but being sincere, being authentic, and really having that trust with, either whoever your boss is or kind of the people that work for you. Only if you kind of have that authenticity is anybody going to confide in you. If not, if it's only name, rank, and serial number, nobody's going to share anything with you. You could ask anything, but they're going to know it's really fake because you really don't care. So, I think you leading by example have been a fantastic job. And if you get all your tens of thousands of people under your going like that, you're certainly a dynamic engine that will continue to do great things for sure.
Well, I appreciate the kind words, but I'm surrounded by wonderful people, Randy. So I remind myself that every single day.
Awesome. And Tucker just posted my book link. And embarrassingly enough, I'm gonna be freaking kidding me. I don't even have one.
It's because they're all sold out, Randy. That's why.
I know. Yes, this is crazy. Anyway, so great book. There's a lot of the folks that John mentioned. Did I ever send you one?
You have not, but I will buy one. How's that?
No. We'll get you. Actually, I think
Only if you autograph it for me.
there you go. It's special. Kyle, and I know Ken and I think Kyle getting a bunch for the team. But anyway, so usually in conclude, I think you probably already answered it, but I say if there's any PG Randy story, but I think the one from being on stage was probably would be the answer to that, right?
It would be all the stories that Bill Scannell and John Hanley tell me about you when you're watching ball games, but I'll leave them to tell that story.
There you go. Yeah, I want to. We got to be careful on that. So it's certainly all great people, but you've been fantastic, just so amazing. Yeah, I'd be happy to work for you, carrying a bag or doing anything anytime. And
what you wish for, Randy. I may take you up on that offer.
There you go. I don't know if there's any accounts down here in Naples, but certainly been fantastic. Next week we have no offense either. I couldn't think of two bigger polar opposites. I'm sure you don't know him, but Sam Nelson. His title topic is winning outbound sequence strategy. It's going to be sponsored by Phone Ready Leads. So certainly will be some great perspectives there. And for those that have watched along, thank you very much. This gets kind of respun and rebroadcast across all the different social mediums. And John, look forward to seeing continued great things from you and the team, and Dell as you continue to go and grow. So thanks, you've been fantastic.
My pleasure. Thank you for the time, Randy, and congratulations on all the success for you as well. And anyone who's listening, thank you for the time. I appreciate it.